Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahushua Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. This is y&ymission. I like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. y&ymission teaches the 100% truth doctrine. It's GMS.
It is a national ID.
I want to bring out this video about the real ID. And even the Edomites are saying like real ID is a Trojan horse for total surveillance. Okay. And like I said before, the real ID is a trick bag that is going to segue into the Motb. It's one of the roads, one of the broad way of destruction, okay, for the 2/3 of the heathens. Because in America and these states, these 2/3 and these heathens need their license to do their wickedness, to travel on airlines and vehicles, and to even, traffic. They were trying to get that guy that they sent down to El Salvador or whatever, the northern tribe dude from Maryland, and they brought him back up here, and now he's in federal custody and is allegedly going to ship him somewhere else to another country or something. They were saying he was human trafficking, or one of the lead or kingpins in human trafficking ring that they were surveilling. They got him. So, like I said, these real IDs, like I've been harping on, the real ID is a trick bag. Esau is telling you it is a Trojan horse. We know what the Trojan horse is. The Romans used that, okay, for the big horse, and then they had their men in it, and then they were able to ransack cities or whatever. So, right. They're going to force everybody to do this with the airlines, the airport traveling, and the MVAs, your local MVAs in your home states, or DMVs, or Department of Motor Vehicles, or your MVA, Maryland Vehicle Administration. Okay, that's how they're going to get you, because every day it's a sucker born. Okay, and the suckers are the 2/3 and the heathens. Okay, you so-called 2/3 blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans from the northern and southern tribe. And then you heathens from the other nations, you so-called Japanese, Chinese, Hamites, Middle Eastern, Arabs, you so-called whites, okay? And you so-called, mixed multitude as far as your fathers are heathens, okay? So whatever your father is, that's what you're gonna be. All right, so yeah, man, this shit is a trick bag. And thanks to the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, like I said, my ID, my license does not expire to 2030, and we know that Yahushua will be back before then. Okay, that's what Esau been pushing for decades. 2030, 2030, 2030, 2030. Okay, but we know that Slakia, Yahushua will be back, okay, before 2030. All right, we know that. And that's, so I'm blessed with that. I don't have to be going through this man's system like that or be hindered by these changes. Everybody else, though, their IDs are expiring every day or coming up on expiration date. And then these 2/3 and these heathen kids, 16, 18, 17-year-olds want to get their license, and different immigrants and different things want to get their license. They're going to be forced to get the real ID. So it is a trick bag. All right. So this is a blessing in disguise, and it's a curse to Yahweh's enemies. All right. So I'm going to let this Edomite tell you, because when the prophets and this bishops, elders, apostles, a great millstone, and the servants of the Lord and the men of the Lord tell you these things, you all don't listen. Nobody listens. So we're going to let them tell it.
And to understand that is not a driver's license anymore. That is a federal ID under federal control that the federal government is allowing the states to use, for people to use as a driver's license. But you'll notice it's not called a real driver's license, right? It's called a real ID. It is a national ID card. It's a usurpation of states' rights. It's a violation of privacy rights. They plan to digitize it. The DMV has testified to Congress. They plan to digitize it, put it on your phone, and have remote and real-time access to it.
this is happening right now. So I've run up against this. They tell you can't fly unless you have what they call a real ID. Now, I used to just use my driver's license, but that changed recently, and you have to have what they call a real ID, which is not just a state ID anymore. It's a federal ID, really. So this is really wild that we're going against what everybody thinks of America, that you don't need to have this. But here, down here, I want to read this to you. The official purpose of this. It says, the term official purpose includes, but is not limited to, accessing federal facilities. So you need a real ID if you want to access federal facilities. If you want boarding federally regulated commercial aircraft, or entering nuclear power plants. So 2 out of the 3, I'm good. And then it says, and any other purposes that the secretary shall determine. So that means they could use for anything, for any reason whatsoever at any time.
Well, Jimmy, you are ahead of the crowd here. The fact that you found that is fantastic, because most people think, oh, this is just about flying. Absolutely not. And that's one of the reasons we as a health freedom organization are in this battle, because we believe it will lead to no card, no care. And not only that, but we know that a lot of people don't have to fly, and they never will fly, or they'll fly only once, and they've already flown that one time, right? But everybody needs access to a doctor. So if Secretary Kristi Noem wanted to force everybody into Real ID, which she does, she could simply take this, because you'll notice that that statement there says the secretary shall determine. And in a rule that the Homeland Security put out back in 2008, they declared that they do not have to go back to the president or to Congress to expand these required purposes. In other words, they are expanding. They have the power to expand restrictions, restricted access, restrictions on travel. You can just imagine if you had to have it to open a bank account, to get married, to buy a gun, to rent a car. You name it. They could come up with a, national security purpose for any of those, right? And so there's absolutely no limit. That is only the floor. The ceiling is endless. So it's really important, for people to understand that what they have in their pocket, if they've got one of those stars. So thank you for having those stars up there in that graphic, because and California has the bear, but everybody else has got some sort of a star. And to understand that that is not a driver's license anymore. That is a federal ID under federal control that the federal government is allowing the states to use, for people to use as a driver's license. But you'll notice it's not called a real driver's license, right? It's called a real ID. It is a national ID card. It's a usurpation of states' rights. It's a violation of privacy rights. They plan to digitize it. The DMV has testified to Congress. They plan to digitize it, put it on your phone, and have remote and real-time access to it. And because it's also under biometric control, so the Real ID rule, says that it needs a biometric facial scanned picture, right? So the picture that is now on there is a biometric picture. And I read that they need, to be a biometric picture, they need like 50 points between your 2 ears. So it's a different kind of picture that's being taken and being put on here. And they have essentially decided that it is they've claimed a right to collect and catalog the coordinates of your body for their control and their surveillance. And they just say it's starting with the face, but they say in the future it could be other things. And if states have bowed to the federal government and conformed with the Federal Real ID Act, they have also agreed that when the federal government changes something, the state will change something.
So what is the real?
So, like you said, like you here said, man, it's a trick bag. It's gonna lead into eventually the Motb. All right. So I've been saying this, okay, but through the spirit and power of Yahweh, he had me, talk about this, and also the other brothers, GMS and everybody as well. saying that, man. These IDs, okay, uh, this change they come in, clamping down with passports in the airport, different things. That is going to all segue into the Motb, the Karama, Slovakia. All right, so yeah, man, Esau is ready, man. Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they prescribe. Right, woe unto them. Who is that? Esau, okay? Esau and Edom is writing this shit, all right? Starting with the head tribe, Amalek, okay? One of the brothers brought out a video, and they said the main problem is not Hamas. It's not Iran. It's not China or Russia. The main problem that Amalek has is with Israel, particularly the house of Israel, specifically the tribe of Judah, okay? That's Amalek's main problem and main threat right now. And it can also explain why we're getting a little bit of fighting and stuff over there in the Middle East and even Eastern Europe with Russia and Ukraine, but then things slow down, then it picks up, okay? Because they all know, they're all Confederate against the house of Israel, all right? So, but the Lord is putting it in their mind and in making these kings, which are their presidents, prime ministers, and kings and dukes and authority figures and political power flare up against each other. They're trying to not fight each other, but the Lord is making them fight. Yahweh is making them fight. So they are prescribing this craziness with the real IDs, okay, with the Karagma, all these laws and different things, okay. It's ultimately Amalek, all right. Isaiah 10:2, to turn aside the needy from judgment, okay, to turn aside the needy, okay, from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, okay, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless, right? And that's what it's about. It's about ultimately turning up on the house of Israel, okay, they're already going after the 2/3. You see how, the 2/3 northern tribe. Okay, that's you so-called Hispanics, Native Americans, okay, you Latinos, okay, they already going after you, and they setting it up now with the real ID to go after the southern tribe real good. That's you so-called blacks, okay, particularly you Jamaicans, okay, Benjamite Jamaicans, okay, you African Americans, that's Judah, okay, and you Haitian Americans, you Haiti Levites, okay. They really want to get us, okay. They really want to come after you, okay? So, they're gonna do whatever it is they need to do to put people in fucked up positions, whether it's their own people, okay? You see Amalek, okay, the head tribe of the Edomites, okay, and they're pushing these laws in the background and putting people in position to pay people off and take bribes and whatnot, all right? So, and to rob, that's ultimately what they want to do, okay? They want to rob the fatherless, okay? All right. Daniel 7:25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. And that's what's going on right now. The saints, particularly, the men that do the work and whatnot, okay, that are laboring in his truth. But overall, the saints are Yahweh's people, the house of Israel, the northern tribe and the southern tribe, even at the 2/3 levels, okay? They still are his people. But he's wearing out the 2/3 right now and the men of the Lord, okay, that are out there on highways and byways doing the work. This is what this devil is doing behind the scenes, okay? That's why he's making all these changes and changing up the license system. They're federally taking control over it from the states because they have to figure out who are the men of the Lord. Specifically, they have to figure out, where they're going to stage kick-ins and where they're going to round certain guys up, okay? And they want to make sure that they cross their T's and dot their I's. And if you know anything about a Edomite or Esau or the white man, before he gets you, he got to write his laws, put something in black and white on the books, and then he's going to go out and scout you. That's the first thing he does. Remember, Esau is a cunning hunter, all right? He loves the field, okay? So he's going to hunt you, okay? He's going to scout you out first, and then he's going to hunt you. They go plot. and then they're gonna spring traps. They're gonna set up traps, and then when time is okay, when the time's when he feels it's time to come and get you, he will come and get you. Okay, all right, and that's when Yahweh is gonna lift up the standard against Esau. Okay, so he is wearing out the saints of the Most High, and to think to change times and laws, and they shall be given unto him into his hand until times and times and dividing of times. Right. This man is not only changing simple laws like daylight savings time and changing a calendar and taking off days and moving days. He's doing that, but also, like prescribing laws on the books, writing amendments and different legal processes in order to hem up the saints or the house of Israel overall. Okay. And he's given that power right now. Okay. But that power is about to come to an end, and he's about to come to his demise. Okay. So he's coming down with what? Great wrath. Okay. Most High is putting him in a trick bag. All right. So Psalms 83:3, they have taken crafty counsel against our people and consulted against our hidden ones. Right. So the real ID, for all these years, it was a state thing. The states had control and whatnot, and now the feds are disguising the ID, like the lady said, the Edomite said. Okay, but it's federal. Disguising it as a state ID, but it's a federal ID. Okay, and that's so they can figure out who's who, put you in a database, because when you go to the airport too, in these federal facilities, they got cameras now. Okay, and they take pictures of you once you present your ID, and like she said, it's like 59 or 54 points between ear to ear that they construct your face and digitalize your face. Okay, so they can know who you are, just like how China, it's already they already got one up on Esau in that department. They got AI. They did that pre C-19. Okay, so Esau's trying to play catch up and do it here. All right, so they make all these laws. They take crafty counsel against our people, the house of Israel. Like I said, you 2/3 and heathens, and consult against our hidden ones. Okay, consult against what? Okay, the hidden ones. Okay, the people. The men that are out there doing the work. It's the ones that Most High trying to hide and preserve. Okay, as men that he's gonna endow spiritual power with and to defend. Okay, the house of Israel and the 1/3 in the remnant. Okay, they taking crafty counsel. Okay, Psalms 83:4. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in the remembrance." Okay, so that's what they're trying to do. All right, and that's why they're trying to get the northern tribe up out of here as quick as possible, so then they can zero in, hone in, and focus in on the southern tribe. Okay, that's 3 tribes they got to deal with. All right, and it'd be easy. And they know they're gonna have a harder time with the blacks, the so-called blacks. That's you so-called Jamaicans, you so-called African Americans, you so-called Haitians. They already know that they're gonna have a strong, hard time getting you all to bend that knee to them, or bow down to them, or being put in place. Okay, that's what they're doing with this real ID, with this charagma, with these laws and everything. We know it's going to ultimately lead to the Motb, no doubt. All right. Psalms 83:5. Okay, for they have consulted. Okay, I think I already read that. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Remembrance. Okay. Sorry about that. Psalms 83:6. The tabernacles of Edom. See, and the Ishmaelites. That's Edom is whites. Ishmaelites, that's Arabs. Moab, that's Chinese. Hagarenes. Okay. Psalms 83:7. Jebel, okay. Ammon, Japanese, and Amalek, okay. That's the people that's over in Israel right now, okay. And the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, that's you Hamites and whatnot, okay. Asher also is joined with them. They have hopping the children a lot, okay. So yeah, all these nations are trying to they're all in bed together, even though they hate each other. They all take one consent and they want to go after the Israelites, okay? Okay, so Ezekiel 22 and 27, her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves, ravening the prey to shed blood and to destroy souls to get dishonest gain. Okay, and that's what it's about. Okay, her princes are these governors. Okay, these congressmen. Okay, these mayors. Okay, these low level peons in this political system in America are her princes, or who is her the whore Babylon. Okay, and they're ready for dishonest games, shedding blood. They're gonna do whatever they got to do to push that real ID, and I don't care who they got to knock off or whatever. Okay. So Luke 11 and 46, and he said, "Woe unto you also, ye lawyers." That's what Yahushua say. "For ye laden men with burdens grievous to be borne, and ye yourselves touch not the burdens with one of your fingers." Okay, so even Yahushua knew even back then on scene that they was full of shit when it comes to these lawyers. Okay, they and that's what lawyers are in Babylon the Great. Okay, even today, they write all types of laws. They help push laws. They help defend these laws that are written by these congressmen, these wicked ass princes. Okay, and these ravening wolves. They help defend these and uphold these laws in court. Okay, and you see these judges getting killed, going down, getting arrested. Okay, all this type of stuff. They were upholding all this bullshit, and now it's getting the pressures on being put on them now, and now they're folding. So these lawyers, okay, for they laden men with burdens grievous to be borne. So bad. You know how bad it is for the house of Israel. Okay, you 2/3 and men, of the Lord. Okay, you northern and southern tribe. How bad it is for us. They write laws on us that's so grievous that we wish we weren't even born. Okay. That's how bad it is to be born, and ye yourselves touch not the burdens. Okay, these lawyers, these Edomite lawyers, these Amalek lawyers, I've seen them in action in the courtroom, especially Amalek. He really has a thing out for the Most High's people when he's going against them or whatnot. Okay, so it's definitely not good. Okay, they burden yourself. They don't touch none of our burdens. Okay, but they want to get us up out of there. Okay. Okay, he has a perpetual hatred, Yahushua, for Amalek. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that out, man. This thing with the Motb is going to happen, and Real ID is a segue that will lead into that. Okay, the Real ID is a trick bag, like I said. Okay, and I'm going to just keep doing updates on the Real ID. One aspect of leading to the Motb. Okay, one of the roads that will help usher in the Motb, and that's what this man and this woman, both Edomites, have studied, looked at, and whistleblowing their own people. Okay, their sword is falling on their own tongue. Okay, so to speak. All right.
Real. What's the real downside to a real?
They don't believe how toxic this is. If you're still using a plastic or wooden cutting board, you need to hear this.
This program, which was, by the way, slipped into a defense authorization bill. How this originally got passed was after 9/11. It was like 2005 or something like that, and it got slipped into a defense authorization bill, like a must pass kind of a thing. And
see, so it got slipped in. Why would they have to slip it in? Because they knew that they were going to get to this point in this time when they would have to come down with great wrath and try to round up the children of Israel and search out who Most High is really dealing with and who he's not, and coming down with great wrath because he knows he had a short time. So I just wanted to bring that out. With that, I like to say all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakak Radash. Shalom.